Lave radio. It's even louder than me. Wait a minute. That can't be right.
Testing 1 2 1 2. Get ready. Lave Radio.
Galnet News Digest, 1st of March 3308. We read the news, so you don't have to. In this week's news, we look at the prospect for private quarters in fleet carriers and report on Prime Minister Mann, who has been censured by the Alliance Assembly. But first, we return to the right of the remaining Thargoids and wonder just how relevant salvation is in the modern galaxy.
Anti-Xeno fighters are on the verge of eliminating the last remaining Thargoid incursions. The only question remaining is whether they can complete the job before Thursday. We reported last week that the 3 systems in the bubble that suffered Thargoid incursions were completely cleared in less than 2 weeks. The counter-momentum triggered by that unexpected foray of aliens into the human heartlands has continued, with Thargoids in the remaining systems in the Coalsack and Witchhead nebulas getting rather more attention than they'd bargained for. All systems in the Coalsack Nebula and the surrounding Muscadart region have been cleared of Thargoids. And in the Witchhead Nebula, only a tiny rearguard of Thargoids are still clinging on in the Lembas and Wellington systems. It seems likely that the Anti-Xeno Initiative and other organisations that are less than friendly with the 8 tentacled monsters of the Col 70 sector may manage to kick them out of those 2 systems before the end of the week, leaving human-inhabited space entirely untroubled by the arachno starfish from space.
There has been no further word from mad scientist Salvation, whose potty plans include some sort of death ray to wipe out the Thargoids completely. Some commanders have expressed their concern over just how ethical such a plan to commit genocide might be. We don't like the Thargoids, but do we really want them gone forever? And does Salvation have an ulterior motive? Like Azimuth Project Seraph 4 years ago, could Salvation really be plotting to use Thargoid technology to take control of the bubble? With the Thargoid threat apparently receding, perhaps siding with Salvation is a risk no longer worth taking.
The Alliance Prime Minister has accepted a motion of censure, and his secret defence deal with Sirius Corps is to be subject to legislative scrutiny, or else the deal will be off. The move came following the defeat of the Sirius megaship Chariot of Rhea by a popular uprising of Alliance citizens. Prime Minister Mahan's nemesis, Councillor Nakato Kane, put the motion of censure to the Alliance Assembly. The vote was by no means unanimous, but it was notable that there were more abstentions than votes to defend Mahan. The Assembly has now called for the details of the pact to be laid out in a bill for scrutiny by legislators. If Mahan and Sirius agree to this arrangement, then it might yet become law. However, if they want to keep the details secret, then the legislation will not be put forward, and Sirius will be asked to withdraw its 4, allegedly, anti-Xeno megaships from the Alioth, Arimpox, Digian and Listes systems. It is not clear at this stage whether Sirius will be willing to have the deal subject to public scrutiny.
Brewer Corporation has not only been busy kitting out the Colonia Bridge this week, it's also been busy sorting out the final hurdles prior to allowing commanders on-foot access to fleet carriers. This week's goal in the Colonia Bridge is to kit out the 6 starports with Pioneer supplies, a crew lounge and search and rescue services. Unlike last week, the Colonia end of the appeal appears to be doing well, with a good prospect of a successful conclusion. The starport closest to Colonia, Promium Relay, in Eoch-Flywai QK-E D12-2118, missed out last week on getting universal cartographics and vistagenomics installed due to a scarcity of commodities in the Colonia region.
Of far more importance to many commanders, though, is the prospect of finally being able to walk around fleet carriers. For far too long, Brewer's flagship product has been operated like a roll-on, roll-off ferry, with pilots forced to wait in the hold with their ships, while the fleet carrier hops excitedly round the galaxy, making loud whomping noises and emitting lightning and black smoke. Now, in just one more week, the yellow and black "Do Not Cross" tape will be removed from the hangar lifts, and commanders will be able to mingle in the social area, to visit the available surfaces in person, and to visit the jump room, with its panoramic view of the fleet carrier opening its vast rent in the space-time continuum to allow it to, metaphorically, disappear through one exit, or run round behind the scenery, and pop up again magically in another place altogether, to the delight of the watching audience. Engineers working on the project have expressed their delight for how well the whole process is going as it nears the grand opening ceremony.
Not only will there be public spaces, of course, but the fleet carrier owner, captain and commodore of the fleet will have their own private quarters in which they can plan their route, swig Lavian brandy, or, if they're more refined, sip Centauri Megagin, and sing sea shanties and feed the parrots free from the annoying crowd of hangers-on and freeloaders in the public spaces. Whether they'll be allowed to design their own decor, put up posters of their favourite bands, and have 3-year-long baths with their very own rubber duck and a gin and tonic remains unclear at this time.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News. We read the news so you don't have to.
Want to tour the frontier? Travel with Colmac Reeve and our new fleet of passenger starliners. We've opened up the universe for a range of budgets. Option 1, luxury.
My husband and I like to travel in comfort. The new luxury cabins were like a home away from home. After all, one's home is a castle.
Option 2, first class.
We'd saved up a bit for a really special trip. The first class cabins were like nothing we've travelled in before. Really luxurious.
Option 3, travel cabin.
We won a trip with Cormac Reeves' monthly lotto. A travel cabin for two on a starliner around the solar system. Once in a lifetime for us. Simply amazing.
Option 4, basic accommodation.
Me and my mates just wanted to hitch around the universe. It's so great that we have the option of getting a really cheap cabin to see the sights. It saved us loads.
And for the budget conscious and slaves, we have our cheapest option yet.
Well, I needed a...
And we won't sell any of those frozen passengers into slavery, I promise. Colmac Reeves all budget tours, seeing the galaxy from luxury to freezing tubes.
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
A show that talks about the universe of Elite.
And the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
And the fantastic community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from the Orange Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads.
A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 381 of Lave Radio, the show about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Psykit, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder bar for this episode are our Head of Health and Safety, Ben Moss-Woodward, otherwise known as Ed of Ice.
I can't think of anything to say. This is like, what's going on here?
Wait a second, it sounds a little bit different, doesn't it? I know. We also have our Human Resources Director, Commander Shan.
Hello.
And we also, having a day off this week, and just being a mere peon like we normally are, we have our Chief Archivist, Commander Phoenix Defire, Colin Ford.
Good evening. Oh, it's so relaxing.
It's weird, isn't it?
Please
so
don't pee on us.
relaxing.
Please don't pee on us.
Why would I pee in you?
Why would you?
I think this is one of Shan's kinks. You know, it's just one of these things. You just have to roll with it side and just keep on going.
Actively adding to the algorithm, mate.
No, you said the rest of us mere peons, and that's what the word. Anyway.
Yes, thank you, Shan.
Cool.
I am picturing Colin sitting back with a gin, actually with a whiskey.
Yeah, you're actually quite right. I am just chilling back here in the back of this Sidewinder with a Lavian brandy and Coke. So yeah.
We get to hear drunk Colin again, because drunk Colin was a lot of fun.
Drunk Colin might actually be my favourite Colin.
I wasn't that bad.
How was he actually at the shindig?
I'm still here. I'll just point that out. I am still here.
He was fine. He was fine. I was the one who had the copious gins. By the time I'd hit my fifth gin, I cannot remember anything else that happened.
The most I remember Colin at the event was he was sitting down playing with his toys, mostly.
As we all want to do. If you do wish, you can join us live. I believe Ben is hanging out in game. What are you doing, Ben?
I've been doing the CG, but I'm making my way back to Lave.
Nice.
So I'll probably be about 7 jumps away in this thing.
Okay, cool. So get ready to ambush Ben when he gets back. That'd be great.
Thank him.
If you can't join us in game, you can also join the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live and clicking on live chat, and via twitch.tv/laveradio. Are we live also on the Facebooks and the Twitters and the YouTubes as per usual, I'm assuming? Ben would know.
We should be. We are live on YouTube, I know that much. And yes, it does indeed say that... Oh, I'm going to crash into the sun. Hello, son. It does indeed say we are live on Twitter as well.
Wow.
Wow. And I saw somebody saying something in Facebook, so hello, person in Facebook.
You're the one person.
Yeah, we won't judge you, but hi.
So I think we'll start by going around and seeing what everybody has been up to this week, as per usual. Let's start with Colin. What have you been up to this week, my lovely?
Oh, right. Yes. My birthday on Sunday. Yay. That's another turn of the world, I think. Have I disappeared again off the
No, you're still here. I can
Oh,
still
right,
hear
okay.
you. Happy birthday for Sunday.
Yes, happy birthday to me. Basically, we went for. No, I can't do that joke.
You can.
Oh, well, ironically, we went to see the big movie that came out this week, and we also had tapas, which was 8 separate plates. So that meant it was dinner, 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 Batman. So there you go.
He's there all week. What
Yeah.
a comedian! What a comedy moment!
You went to a restaurant just so you could say that joke.
No, it's
We went
something
to a
that just
tapas
occurred to me.
restaurant.
It's just something it occurred to me yesterday. So I suddenly realised, oh, I can use that joke. In game, I've actually been discovering some of the space bits that happens in on foot missions, and it makes such a difference. I've been doing massacre missions, and after you've finished with all the people on the ground, I'm just flying back to Lave Station, not a care in the world, and then all of a sudden, I'm jumped by pirates or basically people who have put a price on my head for me doing the massacre. I think that's great.
Nice little wrinkle.
Yeah, I do think they still need to work out a little bit of the text, because it's we're attacking you from Commander something. We've been hired by dollar hash 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 commander name hash hash dollar. So I think they've got a couple of things to resolve there.
I got a key code today for a one of the things that you have to open to retrieve the nonsense, and the key code was hash hash key code. So it happens a lot of places, I think.
What if,
Go ahead.
what if it's their real name or the real key? Because the
Well,
most common
normally-
password is password. So what if
Normally
this one
it's a keyboard. It's a keypad for you to do it. So it's difficult to find hash hash key code within a number pad. So unless it's a number pad with the letters all over it, like old school, but they
You know,
don't
the
they
phones
don't even
used to
do that
be.
anymore. Yeah. Back in the day. Sham, what have you been up to this week?
Well, I haven't been in Elite at all, I'm afraid, because I have been playing and finishing the main storyline of the new Guild Wars expansion and make Guild Wars 2 expansion. So yes, you can drink early, but no, I really enjoyed it because they've been telling the story for about 10 years, because Guild Wars 2 came out in 2012, you see, and this was the cumulation of 10 years worth of player-driven story, of player and a story. So I really enjoyed it. Some of the game mechanics have really got polished and improved, and they're just really enjoyable. I mean, my peak at the moment is if you like a map, the entire region, and up to 200 people can get involved in defeating the big bad boss, and you have 10 groups of 20 people all doing sub parts to get the map ready for the main boss to attack. And yeah, it's just brilliant. Just love that sort of thing, having to coordinate with 200 people and stuff like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Out of game, Hobbs has been to the vet today.
Nothing too serious, I hope.
Well, no, he was off his food and he wasn't really in the mood to play. He just dope around, which some people might like in a cat, but for a Bengal, it's a bit off. So, but apparently, what happened? He had an inflamed throat, because new cat and him have been getting on really well in spite of the picture, and Hobbs has been licking and grooming said little cat, which has to be covered in flea medicine. So the flea medicine's made his throat all puff up. So, but he's better. He's better. We went to the vet. He didn't like the car journey very much, but he hated the thermometer up the bum even less.
I remember the first time one of our cats having the thermometer up the bum. One time, as you so eloquently put it, she
I'm
literally
so
screamed into my
glad.
hand. It was wonderful.
I'm so glad you said it was one of my cats.
One of my cats, yeah.
I was afraid of where you were going with that.
Well, I remember when I had my no, it didn't happen to myself.
I think Ben was talking about another word for cat, weren't you, Ben?
No. Jesus, no.
Ben, what have you been up to this week on that note?
Oh, I also went to see Batman, but I did Batman dinner, I'm afraid. So I can't make that joke. Would it be popcorn Batman dinner? I don't know. Anyway, did that with my brother-in-law and my son. I really enjoyed it, actually. I thought it was very good. And then I've been doing the CG in Elite, and honestly, that's really been about it. Yeah, everything else I've been doing a lot of tinkering, I suppose you could say. But that's more of interest to me and possibly the stream. So anyone who's in the pre-show might have seen that we had a countdown timer. And that's because I was playing with things yesterday and over the weekend and stuff like. But I find that kind of thing exciting, but everyone else just calls me a sad bastard. So
is the countdown timer timing to our official live time, or is it
it's timing to our official time?
Right, so it's going to be right in about 1 in 10 shows then.
It was right tonight. I also found so you guys, everyone knows the Happy Sidewinder that Musipan did, and he made it into a looping GIF and all that kind of stuff. And another commander went off and put it into a video with very happy, chimey, blinky music. Well, you can make that your. You know how when you boot into Odyssey and it comes up saying Odyssey is going to fire and all that crap. Yeah. Well, instead of that, you can play. I think probably any WebM. So basically, when I boot into Elite now, I'm playing the happy Sidewinder video, and it's hilarious. It makes booting into Odyssey so much fun. It's amazing. But also that tune is very much an earworm.
It's also apparently incredibly loud at the moment.
Okay.
Music drowning us out might make for a better show, actually.
I mean, anytime if I can press that button whenever Shan starts to speak, that'd be great.
Oh yeah. You're not allowed to abuse your position as chief peon.
Chris
Sorry,
and I
that's
were
my
talking
fault.
Earlier that
it's okay.
Yeah, if we're ever getting too negative, any of us can just call up the friendship drive. And he'll just play that instead of us for a couple of minutes.
Actually,
like a nice fade out of that would be wonderful. Yeah. I'm down for that.
I wonder if we should make it listener triggered. So if enough listeners trigger it, it goes off, and we only.
Yeah, the problem is though, all people would be doing would be like spamming exclamation mark friendship something.
You can time limit it, can't you? You can have it so it's only once every hour and a half or something like that. So it only happens once a show. But I don't know. It's sort of like the Lave Radio version of the guy with a crook and yanking you off stage.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I like it. I like stuff like that, Ben. I love tinkering in OBS. You're speaking my language there.
So yeah, that's basically been about my excitement things.
Oh, Psycho Cows said that joy over Ben every time.
Oh, I think Ben's quite joyous sometimes.
That's not the kind of joy over Ben he's on about.
Oh, he had to take it there. Sorry, back to you, Psykit.
No, that's quite all right. No, by all means, Colin. Old habits die hard and all that. What have I been up to this week? My lovely sister came up and visited over the weekend, and we played some board games. We played Escape from the Dark Sector, which is a sister game to Escape from the Dark Castle, but it's a sci-fi change to that, and you have laser guns and you try and shoot, and it's a co-op game, so you all eventually die. It's a very difficult game, but that's really fun. And then we also have an ongoing game between the four of us of so me and my husband and her husband have an ongoing game of Betrayal at the House of the Hill Legacy, which we played a couple of games of, which is another thing that I can highly recommend. Betrayal at the House of the Hill is it's a fantastic game. And then we went to the pub. You know, normal stuff, like actually living away from my computer for 5 minutes. I didn't turn my computer on barely all of the weekend. It was great. In game, I have been in game.
Oh, hang on.
You just made
What happened then?
you just made Craig rage quit.
I mean, probably. Discord's a bit funny, so it's a possibility.
Discord is being a bit funny, yes.
Well, Spotify was down earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah. If we're still live, Craig may try and rejoin, so it hopefully it'll be okay. In game, my faction is currently in infrastructure failure, so I've been trying some of those reactivation missions.
How's that been going? Been enjoying them?
It's been alright. It's been alright on and off. I died a couple of times because I constantly forget to turn my shields on. When I just jump out of a ship, as per usual, I just forget to jump my shields out, jump and put my shields on, for the fact that I have a new command in chat, which is literally !point shields, and it yells at me and does an alarm sound to make sure that I put shields on. Because if I don't, a striker comes up behind me and like 3 shots me with a shotgun, and it's not fun for anyone. Especially me, because I've normally got a fine and then I'm back at a detention centre with no way other than to get an apex. So yeah, there's that. That's about it, I think. So, of what I've been doing anyway. So we can move over to the development news.
You missed a
I did miss
important
a
mission.
I did miss a thing. Shan found an assassinate a politician, Ed Reins.
It wasn't my mission. It was someone posted that up in one of the Discords I have,
Okay.
and I really wish I'd have got that mission, and it would have been even better if it had been the proper Ben rather than just a NPC Ben. But that appealed to me. I think it'd be quite funny if you got missions up to assassinate real players.
I mean, you have the bounty boards, which tells you who the players are.
They're kind of limited in money. I mean, that's 4.7 million, isn't it? And I think isn't the cap for a bounty 2 million to stop people farming bounties on each other?
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's not a lot, but then 4.7 isn't a huge amount of money.
Oh, mind you, I guess it is just Ben, isn't it? So perhaps that's about right.
About the right difficulty level. I do like the +5 influence though. That sounds interesting.
Who's the influence? Whose influence is that too, though? Is it influence with the Lave Radio crew?
Depends where they found it. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Looks like an empire symbol next to it, to be honest.
It does look like an empire symbol next to it. You're quite right.
You're wanted by the emperor, Ben.
Dum 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 dum. And that's not an empire symbol. That's an independent symbol.
I genuinely don't know. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, Okay, so looking at the maps on Jameson Memorial, and Independent is that symbol. The Federation are their little stars, and there aren't any Imperials here.
No, the Imperials have got that kind of eagle shape, so.
Yeah, I think that is independent. I think it is an independent.
Probably Deso just trying to kill me.
I don't think I've ever paid attention to them, honestly.
I do pay attention to I pay attention to the faction that I'm doing missions for, and I usually will try to do missions for the independent factions ahead of the Federation.
See, I'm with you. I don't look at this symbol at all. I just think, how much money are they paying?
I think the only time I've ever looked at the symbols has been for like doing thumbnails for stuff. From like a purely content perspective. That's why I need a Federation symbol. I've never even thought about their context in game. Okay, so what have the devs said this week? Not a huge amount. Not a huge amount of good anyway. Okay, so Frontier have added. Is that Elise?
I would have said Leash, yeah.
Elise Howling as a non-executive director who used to work for the BBC as head of digital marketing and communication and was managing director of Freeview and created their Play on Demand. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how that dovetails in with a games company. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't, but I'm just wondering what experience she can add into Frontier with that.
Well,
digital marketing is kind of something Frontier critically seem to need at the moment.
I don't think we can argue about that.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Interesting that it's a non-executive director. I'm not up on directorships and board level stuff. So, what's the difference between a normal director and a non-executive director?
I think Shan probably knows this, but
I think one sits on the board and one doesn't.
Yeah, I thought non-executives can't they don't have an actual say in things.
Don't have a vote.
They don't have a vote in things. They can just sort of give advice and stuff like that, I think. And they get their voice is heard. I could be completely and utterly wrong though.
So they're a highly paid consultant.
With shares.
Yeah. I don't even know if they get shares actually. She might.
One can execute the staff and the other one can't.
I mean...
Thanks, Mac.
I mean, I'm sure that would be the case. Yeah, non-executive is more of a consultant. That's what... I literally have no idea. I don't understand how businesses work.
Yeah, apparently they don't engage day-to-day management of the organisation, but they're involved in policy making and planning exercise. So yeah, highly paid consultant.
Fair play. Bringing someone on to do that works for me. Frontier have also been shortlisted for Major Outstanding Studio of the Year at the MCV Developer Awards. GG.
I've never heard of it if anyone else has.
I've seen a couple of things pop up on Twitter from other, not just Frontier, but from other companies as well, and other places going, oh, we've been shortlisted as well. I've never heard of it before this year.
But they haven't been awarded for the BAFTAs. I don't think there's anything there for the BAFTAs at all. Normally they get at least one.
I've not seen the video game awards, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. There's still more time for them to have been shortlisted for other things, I think.
According to their webpage, they've been going, MCV Awards have been going for 20 years, and it's UK only. And the awards introduced a new democratic process whereby MCV developed subscribers were instrumental in determining who took home the accolade. So is this one of these vote for me click things, do you think?
Maybe.
Well, that's the thing. Say 5 years ago, that award would probably be a lot more relevant. Now the list of British developers, as per what we were discussing last week, has shrunk quite a lot.
tinfoil hat moment. That's why they don't want to sell outside the UK.
Well, just for this one award that we
Yeah.
haven't heard of before. I think you're onto
Finally
something there,
something we
Shan.
can win.
Oh man. I love it. I love it. Also, this week in other Frontier news, before we get onto like the stuff that we could have had a lot more things to talk about, but before we get onto that, the F1 Manager 2022 has been announced with a great small YouTube video just announcing it for the first time. I'm really excited about the F1 game, because I was very little when my dad first introduced me to Formula One, and it's always been like a little thing that I've kind of been following. And now I feel like I can follow it properly again.
Is there a feature in the game where you can storm into the race director's office and have a fit until they change the rules to what you want them to?
What is it? The door quote? Somebody said something about a door. My husband went insane about this the other day, about some kind of, oh, my door, you got my door. So that I think there was swearing in there as well. But we've been watching like documentaries that are on Netflix about Formula One recently, and they're so good. It sounds there it is.
Yeah, my son is into his F1, and so we've been following Drive to Survive and all the others, and it does become a bit of a I don't know, rule lawyers.
Yeah.
There was speculation though at the end of this season that part of the motivation for the ending of this season was because of the Netflix stuff.
Possibly.
Can't see how, because Verstappen wasn't taking part in the Netflix documentary.
But haven't they also said now that it was a bad call or something along those lines? Haven't they come out and said, this is very, very off topic, and I'm not one for being off topic very often.
No, Lewis Hamilton has stepped back and said, okay, I accept the results, but the race manager who made that call has since been let go or been forced to resign, and there's a whole load of shenanigans about whether or not Mercedes persuaded people to get rid of it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it was a controversial end. Yeah.
So do you think you'll buy the F1 game, or would you rather have an F1 racing game?
Well, I know that my son has now got upstairs. He's got he spent an absolute fortune on new steering wheels and pedals and things like that. So he's far more interested in the driving side of it. I might have a look at it. I'll see how it is. But if it does turn into Football Manager, if you notice, it put the year after the end. So they might next year come out with an F1 Manager 23 and do exactly what EA do, which David Braben always criticised EA for doing.
You just change the people in the teams.
Yeah, and you change the number at the end.
When was the last time there was EA did a Formula One Manager game years ago. So by that right, we should get another one in like 2030, something like that, if we're honest.
Well, no, EA got the rights for the actual F1 simulator game.
Yeah, but there was also a manager game a really long time ago, like super early on. Back in the days where you could choose to have Nigel Mansell on your team, we're talking, where a little...
Oh, that's late 80s, isn't it?
Yeah, whereas a little later than that, but you could have Nigel Mansell on your team. It's a very long time ago, sort of mid-90s, I would say, because he was racing when I was first introduced to it. But like in that time, and I think that's the last one that we had. Mansell retired in 95. There we go. So yeah, you could have Nigel Mansell in your game, and that's the last time there was a Formula One management game. So it's been a while. I think it's due one. Let's see how it goes and see a bit more of it. But it's got a whole other community team behind it. I'm really interested. I'm quite excited about it.
It'll be interesting. I mean, the last time I played a management game was Football Manager by Kevin Toms. You know, the guy with the beard. Used to be on the adverts.
That's what, mid-80s?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's all right. I tend to. I had a go on my brother's football manager game, and it kind of got a bit boring because it was more like yeah, I don't know. I deal with enough spreadsheets at work, really.
Not an Eve player either, then.
No, but no, it's good on Frontier for making a go of it, and it'll be interesting to see how well it does along the real F1 fans. You know, the ones who live, breathe, and everything it, rather than the casual viewer.
The
F1.
ones who are like, I could manage this, I could do this. Those
Oh,
exactly,
they
yeah.
real well with.
Trust me, they will lap this up. They will, if they've gone into the amount of detail that fans of this game need, then they'll lap it up. And judging by, I mean, if it's got Adam Woods in it, because he's a real petrol head, Adam, he'll make sure that they've got all the nuts, the bolts, and all the differentials you'll ever need in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm excited.
Did they give a
Ben.
release date? Sorry.
No. 20 summer, I think was the word.
Can I ask a question out of ignorance? Is the person doing the talking a known voice, or is he just somebody?
What do you mean? The person who's doing
The person who's doing the voiceover of the video.
He's not a known voice, but they do have the known voices, the current commentary team from the F1 guys. They will be taking part in it.
Yeah, because he tweeted saying that he'd done a load of VO for it, didn't he? I'm very excited.
It's such a shame they couldn't take samples of Murray Walker and then put the commentary in for Murray Walker, even though it's new stuff. Because for my old-fashioned mind, it's not a commentary unless it's Murray Walker and James Hunt.
I mean, it's difficult. I mean, there is some kind of time travel thing which means that it's really, really difficult. The limitations of no time travel in today's world means that it's really, really difficult for them to go and get Murray Walker's voice. But I suppose they could sample a lot of the stuff.
He's done enough commentary to put it together, but yeah.
I bet you they could go off and do some kind of like the deep fake stuff, but with voice on commentary.
I hate to say this, they've already tried the deep fake with the voice. Luke Skywalker's voice in the Book of Boba Fett, that was all AI generated.
I know it was all Mark Hamill.
I think.
Yeah.
No, there's no Mark Hamill for it at all. What?
Did they pay him for using his voice?
Yeah. Yeah, he was there and he gave direction as well. This is how we're going to do it. Everyone's got a Murray Walker impression in them. I suppose. I would go around and ask for that, but I don't think I'm going to.
Go on, Si. Come on, you made the claim. Come
I
on,
I don't even know who Murray Walker is. So.
Oh my god, that hurts me. That actually hurts me, Ben. That makes me really bad. That makes me so sad. And speaking of things that make people really sad, look at that segue.
Oh, that was so smooth.
I know, right? It was a bit of a shame of the fact that I drew everyone to it afterwards, because that wouldn't, yeah. But on Monday, we had an update from the team. I also want to talk about something, never mind. On Monday, we had an update from the team saying that due to an unforeseen issue, they will be moving Odyssey Update 11 by a few days. So we will keep you updated when we have more news to share. Which was a bit of a pain, because it would have been really cool to have been able to go through some patch notes today and have a bit of a chat about them. Shan?
I'm actually quite glad they delay these things, because I'd much rather them delay it than push it out and have
100%.
the uproar of it. So I can wait a few days for update 11. To be fair, I was more interested in what you can change your interior for your carrier. Would you?
Yeah.
Is it going to be like going into Space IKEA and then choosing all the look and stuff, or are they going to have that as earnable in-game items, or a combination of both? So
it's going to be arcs. We know it's going to be arcs.
Well, it probably will be, but I'd like to say if you kill a Cyclops, you actually have a Cyclops model on the side or something like that, where if you do things in game, you can then decorate your carrier interior with it, and it's not just down to opening a wallet. But we'll see.
It'll be Arc, Shan. That's incredibly optimistic, which is rare for you, so I'm proud of you for that, but it'll be Arcs.
Yeah, I would love what you're suggesting, Shan, but it won't be it.
Clueless 2 does it.
That's great. Good for them.
Clueless 2 is quite cool, actually, because it's an early mission where you can either save a hospital or an orphanage. And depending on which option you choose, your home instance reflects whether you save the orphanage or the hospital. But anyway.
Okay, cool. They also answered a couple of questions about the update. A Commander Coddy Wampler asked, will we need to return to a carrier admin system to equip optional modules? Paul responded, you do not need to make any jumps to install the social spaces themselves. However, new services are like any other and must be installed in a system that has carrier facilities. If your carrier already has a shipyard, its on-foot counterpart will already be installed. So I'm at a system. I'm assuming anybody who has jumped has a fleet carrier is possibly at a system already.
Yeah, I think what that means, how I interpret it anyway, is you can have the interior if you're not at a admin system. But if you want to add like a bartender and genomics and whoever, you then have to be at the admin system to add those features.
Yeah, if it doesn't have like a out of ship counterpart. So for example, I don't have what would be classed as the black market on my fleet carrier. So I don't think then I would have a bartender. I might be reading into that completely incorrectly. I think I'm going to have to go and buy a black market for my ship so that I would have a bartender. I feel like they are going to be linking things. I don't know how they're going to link Vista Genomics.
Universal cartographics, maybe?
Possibly.
I mean, what I'm interested in, how much will that bump the maintenance costs up? Will you
We'll
just
have to find out. I think we're going to have to find out.
Well, I'll rephrase the question. How much do you want them to raise the maintenance cost by? Do you want them to be like, if you have a Vista Genomics and Universal Cartographics, it doubles your maintenance price for Universal Cartographics because you've got both of them?
That means I'd have to do 2 missions for a week as opposed to 1. Oof. I can't see them increasing it. I'd be very surprised if they increase it if I add anything extra. Because, and I will tell you why, because there are people who have fleet carriers in Horizons and people who have fleet carriers in Odyssey, and I feel like they will want to have them paying the same amount, because you could land on somebody's Horizons fleet carrier in Odyssey, and if they've got the counterpart of the on-foot stuff, you will still be able to go and visit that, even if the person who is in Horizons isn't able to, or on Xbox or something like that. You know what I mean?
But as a carrier owner, I'm talking about the fee you have to pay if you're a carrier owner. Because if you're in Horizon, you won't be able to buy the interior, so you wouldn't incur the extra maintenance costs anyway. If you were an Odyssey owner and you added all the extra services, the cost of running those on-foot services would then be added to your weekly total.
And that's why I'm saying not the case, because even if you are a Horizons player and you have a fleet carrier, and you're paying for those, and Paul stated that you pay for one thing and you also get the on-foot equivalent as well. So if your carrier already has a shipyard, then its on-foot counterpart will be installed as is. So my thought process with that is that if you go onto a commander's carrier in Odyssey that is, say, for example, a console player, you will still be able to use the internals, even though they can't.
Maybe. I guess we'll have to find out in the end. We're just sort of guessing really at the moment to see how
Oh,
it
yeah,
works.
absolutely.
What, rampant speculation?
I know that's not like Lave Radio.
No, we just stick with rampant.
And then Zach said a little bit later on, saying that they were still aiming for later this week for update 11. That's not concrete, but that's the current plan. So I'm expecting next Tuesday.
Do you think they could possibly do it on Thursday for the server check? So they bring the servers down, do the update, and then bring them back up again. So they do the server check and the update in one downtime.
Well, it all depends on whether or not one will interfere with the other. They might not want to do it at the same time as a server tick, just in case something screws it up. I know I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, but Colin, they did used to go off and do server tick and maintenance all at the same time.
True.
I think they'll do it next Wednesday because they're going to leave it an extra day, so we have nothing to talk about on Tuesday, and then everyone is talking about it on the Wednesday. Yeah.
Possibly. It's likely. Maybe a Wednesday or something. The day after. They normally do that to us.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
We've also had the Steam charts out for February. They have shown that the number of Steam players are approximately 12% down on January's, but we are still above July's figures by quite a margin.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to read into that. Sorry, Colin.
Yeah, I mean, it's there is a kind of fall off after January in most game playing communities. I find unless there's a major update in February, normally I think all games seem to drop a bit. Whether people have got bored from them from Christmas or a new shiny's come along, but yeah.
It's also holiday time, isn't it?
What,
Yeah, lots of
January
people
is,
aren't
yes.
working.
July, yeah, July is. I would imagine the summer months are because everyone wants to go outside.
I think
in the summer.
the reason that we're using July is because that was like a real low point.
No, July was actually quite a high point. I mean,
Was it really? Okay.
Yeah, the low points were sort of September, October last year. That's when it really hit rock bottom. I mean, we were talking the Steam numbers were half what they are now.
Oh, okay.
So, the reason that I always choose July is because that's the next highest number. The highest number we've ever had was in May, surprisingly enough. June, it dropped off by 50%, and then July dropped off by another 50%. So it'd fallen by 75% by July, and we're now higher than we were in July.
No, go ahead, Jan.
No, there are so many variables in these player numbers. I think it's very, very difficult to attribute it to one thing or another. It could be the weather, it could be holidays, it could be a game that's just come out or whatever. There's so many variables. I'm not sure you can read much into it. But it is nice that the trend is up than where it was, if you see what I mean. So
also, it's just nice to know that there are still people playing. It's not
Yeah.
exactly a fresh as daisies game. I mean, I know Odyssey is, but relatively, but it's still nice to see that people are logging in and playing.
Yeah.
Still a big fan. The only other thing that I was going to mention in development news, which wasn't included in here, they did do. There was a new Jurassic Park update a DLC that went out today as well. So they are busy. Frontier are doing busy things. It's got some wonderful water, like some water simulations in it. It's lovely. I'm very impressed. But I just wanted to add that is also there.
So was this a paid for DLC or was it
Paid for
free
DLC?
update?
Yeah, it's there's a animated TV show around Jurassic Park called Camp Cretaceous, and it's a tie-in with that. There's a couple of skins that are based on some of the animals that are in the show, and there's a couple of bioluminescent skins that are pink that you can put on dinosaurs now, which I'm quite excited about for no reason.
Camp Cretaceous, is that like a Nickelodeon show?
It's a kids show. I'm not super familiar with it myself.
Oh, the only program like that I remember was the Valley of the Dinosaurs on Swap Shop.
Somehow I knew you'd be a swap shop viewer.
No, Tiswas was far too anarchic for me at that age.
Oh, I knew it.
My
knew it.
mum
It's
wouldn't let
so
me watch
nice.
Tiswas. My mum wouldn't let me watch Tiswas.
See what I mean? Now we know what's wrong with Shan, because he never
Adding to
knew.
the algorithm, Colin. Adding to the algorithm. I think we can start talking about things that have actually happened in game. Now we have someone who is called a chief archivist, and I feel it would be remiss of me to not throw to him to find out what's been happening this week, Colin.
Certainly, right. This week, the in-game events. On the 2nd of March, a lot of scientists and people in Aegis have demanded that the organization has been reinstated. It comes under the tail of yet another wave of Thargoid attacks in the bubble, which the superpowers have no response to. And of course, because the Thargoids are attacking independent systems, the superpowers aren't bothered about it at all. On the 3rd of March, we had the beginning of the final stage of the delivery campaigns for the Colonia Bridge. It's the usual stuff, deliver to Alcor and Colonia Systems, and it will complete the final 6 starports. It makes you a lot of money, I have been told. Is that not right, Ben?
Yeah, I've been making around about 30 million per hand in.
30 mil, that's not too shabby at all. That's a week's worth of fleet carrier upkeep.
Yeah, it's not to be sneezed at. I mean, you only get like 1 million credits for actually doing it, but who cares when you're getting 30 million a hand in?
I've really ought to do something about that in order to get my fleet carrier, but I'm a long way off that. Anyway, so on the 4th of March, President Zachary Hudson has made a public broadcast regarding his proposal to remove the single-term limit for the federal presidency in an attempt to try and reassure people that he's not trying to become president for life. I don't know what you guys think of that.
I don't believe him.
I think it's a bit close to home at the moment, actually.
Yeah, you also got to remember that this kind of stuff was planned out months ago.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's a bit close to home at the moment.
It does feel that way, doesn't it? On the 7th of March, Act.
Can I just take it close, not close to home, but am I right in thinking that on the assumption that we continually in the UK, we continually voted in the same party, that party could indefinitely have the same leader?
I don't think so.
Well,
Can't they be the same one over just like 2 terms and then?
No, Mr. Thatcher was Mr. Thatcher was 3 elections. Did you win?
Yeah, same with Tony Blair. You basically in our system, a lot of people get a bit confused about the leader and the actual party they vote for because they've been watching so much American stuff, so they think they're voting directly for Boris Johnson or Keir Starmer or whoever it is. Who you're actually voting for is your local MP. And it's your local MP that gets to choose the Prime Minister, not you.
Yes, and that's why when Mr. Cameron resigned, Ms. May took over, and then when Ms. May resigned, Boris took over. So even though they were the Conservatives won the elections, the Conservative Party chose the leader, which then became the Prime Minister. But
this is a long-winded way of saying if we kept voting the Conservatives in, and the Conservatives decided to keep Boris in, Boris could be leader for life.
Yes, but
that will never happen because we get so fed up of people after about 3 elections.
Oh, we seem to get so fed up of people after a couple of years, frankly. But in theory.
Anyway, short-term answer is that the US have a limit of 2 terms, and that's it. The only person to break that rule was Roosevelt during the war years, and he certainly didn't last his third term because he died.
That's a slight handicap, isn't it?
It is a slight handicap, only he was a little bit more than
Just a temporary
slightly handicapped.
setback, isn't it?
I wasn't going to go there with that.
I wonder if
Yes.
we can get them back and get them in to record VO or something for a Formula One game.
I'm sure we could get them to do a pop song.
I'm sure we could.
It's funny that if in the Formula One game, I wonder if you could have a Murray Walker mode where basically random horrible things happen to the drivers, just so that the commentator can go, and I never expected that.
or whatever the commentator says happens, the opposite does.
And there's nothing that can stop Hamilton now. Oh, where did that grand piano come from?
Just reminding me of SimCity now.
See, I would
Slapstick mode. We need slapstick mode.
See, in these management games, I'd like them to be PvP, so you could watch someone else play and then just drop things on them. I always want that in SimCity, where you could play as the Hurricane or the Godzilla or something like that.
Oh, we have been educated by Phoenix Blue Zero. Apparently Roosevelt had 4 terms, but after him they added in a new constitutional 2-limit term. So there you have it.
The more you know.
Yes.
Do.
And who said Lave Radio wasn't educational?
Well, we've been educated. On the 7th of March, ACT has now been disbanded following the defeat of the NMLA. So basically, the Alliance, the Federation, and the Empire have agreed to close down the counter-terrorism unit, basically because they've done their job too well. With promotions all round, and everybody's quite happy.
Yay.
Yay. Yeah. And I think, is that it? Because
I think that's it. I didn't see anything today.
yeah, there's nothing been today because they were probably expecting to release the release the patch today. But Operation Ida are currently repairing bearing port in the coastal sector KN-S B4-9, and the Anti-Xeno initiative. They're defending the 3 systems, Gabia, Mangelis, and Lembas.
Okay, so it's Gabia, Malangas, and Lembas, just for anyone who needed the correct pronunciation of those.
So that should be 3. Should be 2 drinks out of 3 there, I think.
Would it not be melange?
Is it melange?
I'm thinking it looks very much like the spice melange.
It might be melange. Maybe I got it wrong as well. I feel this is what happens when you host.
Melanges.
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 There's a problem with the melanges on the plane. Oh no.
As opposed to wingies.
Well, on that note, now we've gone through what's happened this week, I think it's that time of week again.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art.
And we actually do have some store alerts this week. I know, don't fall off your chair. I'm glad you were sitting down. We have some news that the Fleet Carrier Cosmetics are 30% off until March 11th in order for you to stock up on your stuff for your Fleet Carrier Cosmetics. Has anybody taken that up?
Don't have a fleet carrier.
All right.
Why don't you buy one in advance again? Give you something to look forward to.
Put it this way, I actually put that on Twitter. I got the most likes that I have ever had on a Twitter on a Twitter post about the fact, well, I need another 4 billion before I can even think about getting those.
I think I had all the ones I wanted anyway from that. So if they put a
Yeah.
new one out, I might be tempted. If they made one that looked like the Battlestar Galactica or something like that, it might have been tempting.
My thoughts were that they were going to like add more stuff with the fleet carrier release today and give us like the 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th to buy more stuff. So I wonder if they're going to extend that at all.
It would make sense to do that, wouldn't it? Along with adding fleet carrier interior options to the store.
For sure, for sure. And the other thing, which I'm very excited about, they got Speedway paint jobs for the Corvette. Obviously, the Corvette is the ship that you is synonymous with going really, really fast and
Oh,
nothing
that's
else.
famous. That's famous. They're going to link it in with a Formula One game, are they?
100%, 100%.
It does look very racy with those stripes on it, to be honest.
It looks so good.
It could be almost said as false advertising.
It's making me want to buy like a I want to say 5th Corvette and see how quickly I can get it to go.
I think they should have a racing skin for the Type 9.
Do they not already?
Don't think so.
Quick, get to the store. See if there is one.
one. There's got to be a speedway skin for the Type 9 or some kind of racing skin for it. But no, that's really cool. I really want Buckyballers, after this 8-ball shenanigans are all done with, can we have a Corvette race for, like, you know, the Federation Elite? Cheers, thanks, Alec, in advance. Thank you.
It's funny you should mention that, because yet again, I've put on the forums in the suggestions section saying, listen, to celebrate the fact that the F1 game's coming out, why can't we have the installation from the tutorial with the gates on it? Just put that in the galaxy somewhere so we can all race around through the gates.
They really ought to add a body kit to the ships, you know, like the front and rear wings or something, or like a halo around the canopy or something.
Yeah, there is that.
There is that. I mean, look at her. Isn't she beautiful? Isn't she just a beauty? And that's available in more colours than just pink. She's absolutely beautiful. I want to build a racing Corvette. I think, Epiphas, shall we just do a race?
Hang on, I am looking up the T9 right at this moment in time to see what we've got. And I'm afraid to say, no, they don't seem to have. No, they don't seem to have it. I'm afraid to say.
Do they not have the other one, which has got like the checkerboard pattern on? There's another one that's kind of race-like. I might be entirely mistaken. It's been known to happen on occasion.
Well, there's the turbulence packs, which it sounds like some real. You've been.
Those are for the hardcore racers.
Yeah, but that's about it.
Ben has just put up the ultimate skin in chat, Colin.
I've already got that. That's one of the. If you'd followed Top Shift, you would have seen my adder in that. For the couple of emissions that I didn't.
So you actually spent money on a ship skin you hate?
Well, you've got to make it look even slightly decent.
Yeah, I didn't want it to look like the standard adder, for goodness sake.
You don't want it to run stock, Shan. How very dare you?
I was actually tempted to do the one in the hauler, which I absolutely love, because you've got the speedway skins in the hauler, but there's the hauler back. There's one called the hauler black contour, and that one looks like the van from the A-Team.
Yeah.
Sorry, is that too old for?
No, it does. Is that too old? Jeez.
I don't know. I just paid you a compliment there.
No. Oh, bless you. Bless your heart. On that note, I think we're gonna take a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back with our main discussion.
the Federal Navy. We want you for Adventures Unlimited.
Just last week I was mixing Sidewinder slammers at a seedy space bar. I wasn't even pilot registered. And now I have a ship and a basic starting mission for the Federal Navy.
Owing to recent actions in the Lave region, the Federal Navy now seeks to recruit another 1,000 entry-level pilots. We need you to add your strength to our military machine.
I'm going to see the galaxy.
We have missions for all pilots, regardless of combat experience or flight hours. Come and talk to us and we'll get you on the military ladder. Join the Federal Navy. Make a real pilot of yourself, or die trying.
Wait, what's that? Is that a ship coming? Are they looking for me? What do they...
This is a public service announcement from the Fuel Rats. Please stop what you're doing and pay attention. If we can rescue you, we will, but you can help us help you by following these easy steps. 1. Fly 50 light seconds or so from the system's main star and drop out of supercruise. 2. Note down the current system and the nearest stellar body. 3. If you're on emergency life support, log out immediately. 4. Go to fuelrats.org and click Get Help. 5. Stay calm, hold your breath, and let our seasoned professionals do what they do best. The Fuel Rats. We have fuel, you don't. Any questions?
Are you thinking of suing over missold Python protection insurance? Had an accident in an airlock or slipped in a space station cargo bay and thinking of suing for compensation? Well, don't.
Tried to take my ship commander to court for making fertiliser out of my crewmates. Legal fees have left me with nothing, and now I'm hungry. All the time.
At Watt & Brittany we take small print very seriously. We have a massive team of lawyers just waiting to block your case and ramp up your legal costs.
I wanted a simple, no-win, no-fee arrangement. My case got blown out of the water by Watt & Brittany, and now I have to rent out my arse for hydrogen fuel.
At Watt & Brittany we have a saying, if you don't want a beating, stay out of our court.
I was savaged by a wild creature whilst fixing a vending machine. Can't I claim compensation?
No, you can't, because we have a massive team of lawyers and you're just someone who works for a living. Watt & Brittany. Don't even think about it.
And we're back. So our main discussion this week, you might have noticed that we have a different host of Lave Radio this week, and it is me, because it is indeed International Women's Day. So they're letting me out of my corner, and I'm moving from being the token woman to actually being a woman who is on the show.
Ow.
I didn't call myself that. I'm just owning what you called me.
I don't think any of us have called you token.
Shan has.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Sam.
I was right here when it happened. Anyway, with that being said, it was very nice for you all to like genuinely ask me if I would be interested in talking about like my experience as a womany type person in the gaming world.
That's makeup woman. Is that what we're going?
I'm a particular makeup woman. I'm about 50% woman most of the time. But we had it was because it's International Women's Day, and there were quite a few fair few women who play Elite Dangerous, who I know who play Elite Dangerous, who are excellent human beings. I feel like we're in a really good place in Elite, and Elite is super inclusive. From my personal experience, Elite has been super inclusive, and for the most part, everyone is incredibly welcoming and super, super great. There have been times, and I did warn you that I would be bringing notes, but there have been times historically with maybe some other factions occasionally where I've been called all different sorts of names under the sun, as I had the audacity to have a little bit of authority within the group. Which, because let's be honest, I'm family friendly on my streams, but I swear like a fucking trooper everywhere else. And that can be a bit abrasive for people. And I get that. I get that it can be abrasive. However, it doesn't change who you are as a person. And I feel like there have been times that I have been entirely called up on literally just the fact that I am a woman who swears. Because if I was a man using this language, it wouldn't be the case. And I was called all sorts of names under the sun by other player factions, not my current player faction, but by other factions. I have been called all sorts of names under the sun and not accepted literally for who I am. And I know a lot of people have it a lot harder, and I appreciate that. But there have been times where I've just been like, what the fuck?
I've actually been just calling you out because
I swear. 100%. I'm not joking.
You know, my wife and mother-in-law both swear more than I do. Yeah. Wow.
There are other things. There are other things that have happened with other times. For example, things where I don't want to use like actual commanders' names or anything on those lines. But there are situations where I have been called into account and scrutinized so much more than fellow people who have been at similar events to me or similar streams, and I have been called into account. And the only difference between me and those other people is the fact that I'm a woman. That's the only difference.
Yeah. Oh, so damn, these two planets aren't quite touching. Sorry. I'm sorry, Sai.
Nice
I don't want to say I was ignoring you, but I was more excited that these two planets looked like they were.
No,
like,
that's
it might have
fine.
been touching.
That's fine. That's important.
That is important.
Well, I mean, I've done my streaming, my bit of streaming myself. I don't get anywhere near the numbers you do, obviously, Sai, but I do feel comfortable streaming without any, without any fear of people calling me out on just anything but other than me being a prat.
Yeah.
It's just it's just I normally find that if you have a streamer who is an absolute pain in the bum, and they they're being absolutely obnoxious, and you don't like their content, and if they happen to be female, you don't. That to me is the too easy option to go after that, because basically, to me, that seems that I don't know whether I'm going to come across right here, but if you complain that what do you expect, stupid women can't stream, then that seems to me to be basically taking the lazy way. You're not actually criticizing their stream for them being horrible. You're criticizing them because they're actually female. And what's the point of that?
So there was the law stream. You know when Frontier had a wave of having like streamers who were into the law on. There was a commenter who was like, I happened to mention that I'd gotten into the law relatively late, and I'd only really been paying a huge amount of attention to the law kind of when Galnet came back. That was my thing. And he was like, this woman does not know anything, blah, 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 all of this stuff. And I was like, I've been playing the game since 2016, and he literally went to my Inara profile and was like, "Well, you updated Inara in 2018, so you're wrong." He well actually me on facts that I was fully aware of.
What a douche!
Yeah, well, there's
What a
people
complete dick.
People exist solely for the intention of putting
Yeah.
women down, and I don't have it any. I really, honestly, I don't have it anywhere near as bad as some women do. And let me just say straight up from right now, trans women are also women, and they like the lack of inclusivity that I find that trans women and that community have is absolutely terrible in comparison to anything that I go through is peanuts compared to that. But it doesn't belittle or it doesn't negate my personal experiences. And yeah, I do believe that as a woman, and I know Shan, I will be coming to you in just a second, mate. I do believe like it as a woman, we do maybe set ourselves to like this really high standard as well, or we try and aim for these standards, and we're really self-critical as well. So anytime anyone comes in and like criticizes me, especially on the way that I look and not the way that I play the game, especially on the way that I look, when I know that they could go to somebody else's stream who is easily as big as I am and just be complimentary to that person, that pisses me off, because it's just, if you're going to be an arsehole, be an arsehole to everyone so we can all ban you. That'd be great. But Shan, you had some comments about Mrs. Shan.
Yes, I mean, Mrs. Shan, before she got busy in real life and stuff like that, she used to play competitive PvP to a very, very high level in Guild Wars 1. And when I say very, very, she was in the top 15 players in the world at PvP in Guild Wars 1. So she was very, very good. And she got an awful lot of abuse for being a female player. And what she would find was that once they knew she was a, in quotes, real girl, they would then target her specifically, not because she was the best player or whatever like that. It's just simply almost like a macho pride thing. I don't want to be killed by a girl, or I don't want to be shown up by a girl. That kind of misogynistic kind of stuff. But on sometimes, it's like, 'cause she's got quite a posh voice. Well, people say she's got a posh voice, but anyway, they would. Some people would also soften to it, almost like try and not chat her up, but act a bit weird when they heard her voice on voice comms. So I'm just wondering if you had any experience of being picked on in game because they knew you were in quotes female.
Oh my gosh. It would go back to like being in first person shooters. Now I would have never had the opportunity to meet my very, very best friend had I not like finally decided that I was going to speak up, because I don't think that like Psykit, as you view Psykit, it's pretty genderly ambiguous until you realize what it stands for. But when you read Psykit, it doesn't like scream, "Oh yeah, this is a bird" kind of thing. So I was quite happy not talking to anyone and just going ahead and playing Counter-Strike and enjoying listening to the bands that were going on. But at one point I finally spoke up, and I was really lucky in that I was on a server with some absolutely wonderful human beings, a lot of whom that I'm still friends with to this day, one of whom is my bestest friend in the whole wide world. But they were like my bros, man. But if we would get someone new and they would hear my voice, that would be the thing. That would be the why have you got a girl playing on your server? But we had more girls. It was quite a nice inclusive place. I did a stream with the Lemniscape folks. With like Tim's team and Jen and Jens and on the Frontier channel a little while back. And there were a couple of people in chat who were like, Jens, you have to win because you can't get beaten by a girl. Why have you got a woman on the stream? You can't get beaten by her. And I'm like, please, it's 2021. Let's not bring this energy into 2022.
Do you think that's all a side effect of what I still perceive to be a very traditionalist kind of approach? Oh,
100%.
women shouldn't be play games. They should be in the kitchen. That kind of horrible archaic thinking, or women are the weak ones. So therefore, if I get beaten by one, I am therefore a bad player. Or I'm just
Like
wondering.
my penis is not big enough because a woman can beat me. Or I am not the macho man that I deserve to be because a woman can beat me at a video game. Or you're letting down the bro side because you've let a woman beat you. Or don't let her win.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly something Mrs. Shan had. In Elite, I must admit, I mean, obviously I'm a male player, but in Elite, I haven't picked up a lot of the attitude in
No.
the community, and that may be speculation, maybe because the demographics of the Elite community is different to that of your average shoot 'em up.
I 100% agree with you. I am so proud on the whole of the Elite Dangerous community because of how inclusive they are. And had I not stepped away from the people who were making me feel like shit, had I not done that and moved away, I probably wouldn't be playing now. There's a lot of factors, and a really awesome support network who's like, you know why they're doing this, because you're emasculating these other people. And it's just like, I think the Elite Dangerous community is super, for the most part, the Elite Dangerous community is so inclusive and so supportive, and they will shut down people who are misogynistic or anti-LGBTQ, etc., or anti-Black Lives Matter, all of that kind of stuff. We have a very, very, very good handle on, as a whole, of being able to drive those people down. And I'm so proud of the community for that.
I think the worst instance of that I've seen in Elite was I was on the same TeamSpeak server many years ago as Harry Potter, and I was teaching, me and a few others teaching him to fly and stuff like that, and he was just getting into being a complete, can't mention the word on a live show, but anyway, and there was a streamer I believe called Crass Kitty, and she was a very popular streamer at the time. I believe she was American. She's very, very popular. Good streamer, actually. Always, and she would role play in her stream.
Yeah.
So she'd have a group of her wingmates, and they would be the police, and they'd role play interdicting people and pulling them over. So basically, it was a nice, interesting role play style stream. And he got into her instance because he said, "I want to learn to role play and be the police and stuff like that." And because she was friendly and nice, she let him in, and he then proceeded to continually murder her ship until she was out of rebuys and was back to a sidewinder and was in tears. And all the time he was cackling with glee every single time he killed her, and having her burst into tears because she'd lost everything because of him and his grieving. That just sickened me to the core. It really did, and that was when I never went on TeamSpeak with him again, because I thought, this is wrong. He needs to be banned. He needs to go. And it was deliberate. It was malicious, and yeah, I just hated to see it. I hated to be even witnessing it, and he thought it was really funny. So I hated the people like that still around.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing that we at Lave Radio have experienced is that when you came on, we've been trying to get a female voice back on Lave Radio since Lisa View left, and thankfully you did come along, Psykit. But however, when there was actually a couple of incidents right when you started when we thought we were getting a couple of comments which seemed out of place. And I must admit, it is a credit to the Elite Dangerous community that all those people who did make those comments have now just turned around and said, actually, we were worried about Psykit being a good fit. We were completely wrong. She now fits in perfectly. Fair play. We were wrong. Put our hands up.
Well, I mean, they were definitely wrong because I'm awesome.
And modest.
Well, I'm so modest with it, Shan. I mean, I mean, but it is really funny. It is a really funny thing. Just seeing people's reactions as well, and there's kind of like. I don't think that people would have been quite as surprised how well I did at Buckyball had I not been me. And I don't know whether that's me as in these boobs put you at a natural disadvantage, if you know that reference. But had it not been like, had it been that part of me, or just because I'm a cretin, it's probably yes, probably a combination of both, to be fair.
I mean, I don't feel particularly vulnerable or whatever in admitting you and me in a 1v1 kind of thing in FPS. You will kick my butt.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't feel ashamed to admit that.
I mean, there was a PvP player in, was it Raya? In Elite, he used to be very, very good with railguns.
Mm.
And yeah, she was a good player. And isn't Isonona, that's how you pronounce it, wasn't she a female commander? You know, he did those amazing Flight of Siftos videos. Wasn't
I
she
don't
female?
know. I have absolutely no idea.
Well, I'm going to be cheeky now because it's something that Ben wanted to ask me. So if I ask you, it sort of makes it all right. Sai, have you ever felt the need to play a male avatar just to kind of like, if you're playing a game and you're not on voice comms, obviously, have you ever thought about playing a male avatar just to give yourself a break from, oh, you're a girl thing? You ever thought about doing that?
No, if the opportunity arises, especially when I started playing, my options were this bearded burly gentleman or this alternative bearded gentleman who is actually blonde. Those would be my options. It would be very rare of the games that I was playing that I would get to play a female protagonist. In my experience, there are female protagonists. But I don't like begrudge, like I know blokes who will choose actively to play as a female character. I see it was Nerd Cubed who brought it up to light for me that he would always play a female character when given the option to play a female character, because especially in some of the early games that he would play, if they shifted the dialogue to be a female, sometimes it wouldn't really make sense in some areas. So he always used to play female characters just to see what the dialogue was like and see what the dialogue changes it were, and then it just stuck.
Yeah, I mean, my avatars, I got a female avatar, but the reason for that dates way back like that is because when I started gaming or online gaming, the male character models all looked like they had had a lobotomy and gone to Chippendales and were Chippendales. I just didn't want to see a character that looked that dopey, because I'm quite an aesthetic driven person. If it looks nice, if it looks good, that's for me. I want to spend time looking at something that's nice. It's whatever. I don't want to see a half rendered beefcake character. So I started off playing female characters just simply because if I have to look at them in in third person, it was a lot nicer to look at than some stupid one like that. But saying that, I don't particularly enjoy hypersexualized female characters because that's just stupid. That just doesn't inform me. But the reason why my avatar was like it was because I played a female avatar in Guild Wars 1, and the reason where Shinari Rhino comes from, that's just a name generator. I couldn't think of a name, so I jumped to a name generator, and that was where the name came from. And the character had red hair and stuff like that. And from then on, in all online games I play, I have a character that looks as close to the original Shan as I can, so that when my friends join me in game, oh, there's Shan. That's Shan's character because they all have the same look. So that's kind of why I do it. It started off as an aesthetic thing, and also what I tended to find back then with male character models is they weren't as well rendered or modelled as the female ones. They tend to have armor that clipped and stuff like that. So I just didn't want to go that way. So yeah, it's quite an interesting topic actually. So would you not buy a game then, Si, if it didn't have a female character, or playable
Nah.
female character?
No, I prefer it. I'd prefer there to be either either being like wonderfully genderly ambiguous, or being able to um like choose the way you look and then choose what your pronouns are. It's especially in this day and age is super important to me. I'm quite happy running around like in No Man's Sky as a little Gek person. I don't know if they're male or female. I'm fine with that. But things like I think I think Cyberpunk has done a really good thing with inclusivity like that. The Sims is just starting doing things like that. I know I'm going off. I know I'm going off topic with games as well, and I wanted to keep this more on Elite. There is an excellent game called Not for Broadcast, which it's just an excellent game. I highly recommend you check it out. It's gonna win so many awards. It's so good. But you play as your character's name is Alex and your partner's name is Sam. Take that as you will. But and you never get to see the character, so that those kind of things where it can be left to you to decide on how your character is choosing to present themselves or choosing to be is for me super important.
So what's your view of the character creator
In Elite,
in the league? 'Cause I found the facial variation is good. Hairstyle choice, meh. But there's only one body type. There's only one size. I mean, yes, no one wants to make the weird kind of stuff you could in Aeon, for example. But I don't know. They just don't. The avatars don't really do anything for me in terms of wanting to identify at looking at a character saying, "Oh, that's my Shan character," simply because there's so little variation in how they look.
yeah. Yeah, I'd love that to be explored more in Elite. Let's not forget that they haven't bought when did they bring in like character and avatar changes? It can't have been too long ago.
It was a Hollow Me, wasn't it? In Horizons 2.3,
Something like that.
Yeah,
It
2.3.
was ages ago.
So, actually, in VR, it's kind of disturbing looking at your character in VR because they all look about 16. They're just not.
You can't age your character, Shan. It's just that nobody really wants to because they.
No, but that's just make them grey hair or wrinkles. What I'm talking about is if you look at the size of the character in the chair in VR, it looks about 4'2". It doesn't look realistic height, well, average height, shall we say?
Yeah, but that's just the VR perspective. I mean, as far as I'm aware, when you walk around, I mean, the main issue that I've seen in other MMOs hasn't happened in Elite yet because it's very, very difficult to socialize, and there's positives to socialization, with socializing with people around the bar, and of course there are negatives. And I don't think we've got to that point there where either of those things come into effect.
Is there much of a role play community in Elite, i.e., their characters will meet up somewhere?
I think they could be.
Oh,
I think given more options, given more defining character options, I genuinely do think that they could be. Like I can't make my characters thick with two C's and a K. You know, I want to have my Gek in Elite. You know,
That-
so it but well, that is really great. I think Commander Face Guy brought up that she thinks that the character creator is amazing Elite because she connected so much to her character. She became her character, and I think that's wonderful, and I love that story. I love Face Guy so much.
So I'm going to throw the question open to myself and Colin and Ben as well. Is have you ever felt, I won't say victimized, but have you ever felt embarrassed, is perhaps the proper word, because you were you were playing a male player playing a game? She's funny because we talked about women feeling
I think I see where
uncomfortable
you're
because
getting
they're
at.
women. So I'm sort of like flipping the question around about being uncomfortable because you're a man.
No, none, never, never felt uncomfortable, and this probably goes down to the good old male privilege that I've that it's certainly not a disability. It's just you completely and utterly forget how lucky you are that you don't have to worry about certain things that
Yeah, the old white man's
the opposite.
burden kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you forget that walking down the street, I don't get I don't get any catcalls or anything like that. And I think the closest I've ever had to that kind of thing is when I've actually had female tunes in MMOs, where I've had obviously people hitting on you, and you type into the chat, "No, I'm male in real life, MRL," and they'll still keep on hitting on you, which I think that's a bit of a weird one. But
I've noticed that a few times.
I think my most memorable one, and it was one of the very few times I've been lost for something to respond to be fair. And again, it was in Guild Wars 1, so it was a long, long, long time ago. And this player came up to me and says, "Hey, can I join your guild?" And we're very choosy about who we had in the guild, so I kind of let them down. I let them down gently, saying, "Oh no, we know we're not recruiting at the moment, but thanks for the question," etc. like that. And they said, "Oh, we can, we can merge our guilds together." And I sort of went, "Okay." And they go, "Yeah, as part of that, I think we should, when we do merge guilds, I think to signify the union, we should get married." And it was like,
Oh
what?
my gosh.
Because remember, I was playing a female avatar at the moment, and I just logged out. I was laughing because it was so ridiculous, but it was like I don't really know how I can how I feel very uncomfortable with this conversation. I think I remember feeling, but I don't know if any of you have had anything like that at all, being propositioned.
I haven't really played MMOs, so I haven't super been propositioned in a game. I have obviously after playing Counter-Strike with teenage boys had dick pics sent to me.
Oh, lovely.
Lovely, absolutely beautiful. I mean,
sarcastic there.
I love a dick pic because I can send a fully direct criticism to them.
I've had naked girls send pictures of them in Guild Wars 2 to me.
It's like you've got to love the people who have the bravery to send an unsolicited dick pic. Please don't do that. I mean, I believe that our audience is mature enough to not do those. I will accept animal pictures all the time. Post them in my Discord. That's not a problem.
Naked animal pictures.
Quite happily accept any form of cute animal, including
So,
snakes.
dear listeners, send your naked alpaca pictures to Colin.
Absolutely do.
Oh no, it's Shan who's got the blooming alpaca thing.
I mean, to be fair,
Colin will
Mac is
just forward
upset
them
that
on.
no one sent him any dick pics.
so it's really what Psycho Cow put. But
Oh God.
Oh no.
But I don't know. I kind of feel quite uncomfortable thinking about other people treating women and even the men like that, because I think, as I said in Discord chat when we just got on the main topic, if I look at a stream, I watch the stream, and if I enjoy the stream, I never once does it go, oh, this is a girl, before, oh, I'm enjoying the stream. You know, it just doesn't enter my head the gender of the person doing the stream. And I just don't know. It just seems such a weird kind of way of thinking. Whether it's because I've been married for 30 years, I'm not sure, but
I feel like there's I do feel like um there's I think there's a stigma that female streamers put on themselves as well. A little bit, like, I think I know I spoke to somebody about the amount of time it takes me to prepare to get to start streaming. And it's like, okay, I do X, Y, and Z. I get this ready. I make sure that my hair's good, my makeup's good. And they're like, well, the other day I started my stream countdown and went and had a shower and came back and I was ready to stream. And I was like, I hate you.
I've never actually been on a stream where it's happened, but I have heard of women who do this, but it's where they deliberately flirt with the camera, and it's almost like a OnlyFans version of a live stream, I suppose.
I made the mistake of one day when I was browsing Twitch, and it was described as an ASMR just chatting stream, and that was very disturbing and not at all what I was expecting. And let's just say it was a scantily clad couple of young girls making love to their microphones.
I mean, different strokes for different folks. Don't knock it.
So fair play to them. They had a lot of viewers.
Well,
they were on the front page of Twitch. I assume they were on the front page of Twitch because that must have been how I saw it.
See, my view of that is it actually doesn't do the issue of harassment against women on live streams any favors at all. And I'm not saying it's their fault or whatever. It's just kind of like, well, I don't know. I find the whole thing uncomfortable, to be fair.
It does sound a little bit like, with respect, Shan, that does sound a tiny smidge, a little bit like victim blaming to some extent. Well, those women are just asking to have harassment because of what they're doing, what they're planning on making their way.
Well, I'm trying to put myself in the mind of the idiot who's doing it, you see. So it's not my opinion. I'm just trying to...
By idiot who's doing it, do you mean the streamer, or do you mean people who are...
The guy who's equating that behaviour with that, do you know what I mean? It's not... as I say, this is a topic I find quite difficult to explain properly, I guess, because for me it's so out of my comfort zone and how I behave that I'm finding it hard. So it's not a victim blaming at all, Si. So I apologise if that's how you interpreted it, but I can see how, if you're that teenage hormonal thing, there will be that assumption, well, so and so does it, so therefore you can do it, and you can do it, and you can do it. Completely wrong, completely, whatever mindset. That is not the equation I'm trying to get. But anyway, I'll shut up now. I'm digging.
I want to touch on this very, very briefly, but you're actually bringing up something that I'm getting concerned of, shall we say. My son's now 15. I know, Colin, you've got a teenage daughter and things like that as well. I do not want them to be in a position where either my son or my daughter in the future, or anyone's kids, feel obligated that this is the norm. And that worries me if they're seeing this kind of behavior on platforms that they look up to.
I think that's a really good point, and we can only serve as people who enjoy content to make sure and enjoy Elite Dangerous, and let's swing it back round to the dangerous space, and we can only serve as examples
Please
within
make it
this
safer.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, we can only serve as examples in this community as to how, like, absolutely fucking awesome and inclusive the Elite Dangerous community is, and go and appreciate that and make sure we smack down any misogyny, any misandry, any isms of any kind, and just make sure that we're being like this awesome community that I know that we can be, and I know that we are.
But also when people like Shan go and put their foot in their mouth to
just manage to tell him what he's doing wrong.
Yeah, and that's, you know, speaking as a man, you know, I know that there are, you know, speaking as a straight man, you know, I know that there are times that there are simple things that I literally have no concept of. You know, I've got no idea what it's like to be transgender or gay or a woman or any of these things, because I just don't have any. I don't have the context. And I don't know if I can get the context, if you know what I mean.
I think Bill and Ted said it best.
Be excellent to one another.
And party on, dude.
I mean, like, don't drink too much gin, because then you forget what happens at the end of the night.
Bill and Ted didn't say that.
Well, I mean, I'm just adding to it, adding my wisdom.
Addendum.
Yeah, my wisdom. Just don't drink too much gin. I think we will wrap up there. Thank you again, folks, for having me host and like wanting to ask those questions of me, because it really means a lot that you want to like highlight this as a thing, especially given the fact that you haven't had a female voice on here for so long.
Sorry, it's only because Frontier didn't actually release update 11.
Yeah, that's all it is. All you needed was some filler.
I hate to tell you this, Si, but you're not done the show yet. You still have Community Corner, mostly Clueless.
I know,
So
but I just wanted to thank you for that bit. I've done these bits before, it's fine. We are gonna move on to the Community Corner now. We do have Jaguarius. I'm gonna say it's Jaguarius. If it's Jaguarius, that is a problem, and I'm not happy with it. So I'm going with Jaguarius. They're creating a fleet carrier scale model, and it is absolutely
beautiful, isn't it?
Fluffing amazing.
It is, isn't it?
Holy nuts! It's like with all the LEDs and stuff, and it's she be thick with 3 C's and a K. Holy nuts! It's amazing. It really is.
So good.
Also in the community corner, Obsidian Ant has touched on the question of consoles versus Elite Dangerous. Goat's Giraffe has been trying to PvP with an FDL.
That's quite funny. I'd recommend people see that, because it's actually quite funny. Because he's making all the mistakes that I think everybody makes when they first start out.
The Brother Sabathius has posted in the forums about the new buckyball race for this month as part of the 8-ball challenge, the Aquarium Club. It looks like it's going to be a hilarious one, because it involves planetary landings. I think it's the only one with an SRV as well. So it's going to be nonsense, and it also involves you having to have your shields turned off, which is definite nonsense. The Fatherhood, this was on the newsletter, which did happen and I'd forgotten all about. But the Fatherhood have announced their Lost Souls expedition, which I believe is taking part at the beginning of next month or the end of this month, one of the two. But that is happening, and there is a chance to sign up on that thing or on the website. A link's in the show notes. We have also missed out the Turning the Wheel initiative. That's still happening. Apparently, they're still doing things with the Dark Wheel, and there is a link in the show notes to the forum post where you can see what to do with regard to that. We also have our Mostly Clueless section, which is from Commander Nopleus. who has said the DSS has a display of areas with biologicals because they genuinely thought that the blue was a shader bug and didn't know how and where to look to scan biologicals. To expand on that, as someone who doesn't do a huge amount of exobiology, I think, is it the darker areas? The darker blue areas are the places where you can see the higher concentration, or is that wrong?
That's actually wrong.
Well, I'm quite happy for it to be wrong, Colin.
All the darker areas really are effectively mountains. It's the way the shaders being displayed is just mountains, or different or geological features. As long as it's blue, the chances are something will be there. Now there are certain plants like the Frutexa. They are only found at altitude, so you'll have to go up those mountains to find them. But normally, any different shades of blue, I'm afraid to say it's just height.
What I tend to do is I tend to drop out in a lightish blue area, and I just fly until I spot the biological and then land.
I mean, that tends to be what I've done as well.
But there is a science around it. I'm sure someone who's done way more of them than I have can explain the science, because I did see it explained of that, because it's not just a shader thing. There are definite patterns to look for within different colours of blue, but it seemed a bit complicated to me, so I kind of ignored it and just flew around looking for them on the ground.
Fair. Yeah, that's like the extent of my exploration has been going around the ground either in an SLV or on my ship and going, oh look, there's some there. I'll just scan that. That'll be fine.
What I tend to do is I tend to look at the biological type, and if it's bacteriological, I go, nah, I can't bother.
Yeah. I ain't taking all my time looking for those. Not a chance. Did we have any other? I have other business. I do have some other business.
Can be business, Sensei.
I have this weekend. I don't know exactly what time it is, but this weekend, some tabletop friends of mine over at the Wayfarers League channel on Twitch are doing they're doing streaming for a refugees charity all week. My friend Sarah is live during the morning doing character sketches for 10 quid. If you chuck 10 quid in the charity's direction, she'll do a charity character sketch for you, which is awesome. She's done some amazing ones so far, and she's doing them 10 till 1 all week. But also at this weekend, I'm going to be on in a goblins game, which is a system I'm not even aware of, and I believe you play as 6 different goblins and you're part of a family, and it's going to be absolute chaos, and I can't wait. But that is over on twitch.tv/wayfarers_league. And they're a wonderful bunch of people who do a lot of different tabletop and role-playing events. There's also the following weekend a bunch of Elite Dangerous Commanders, myself, Karamba, Katie Chaos, Errol 237 and Commander Archer are doing an over 24 hours round table round robin stream for care.org as well. That's Friday and Saturday. It's starting on my channel a week on Friday. Those are the 2 things. Has anyone else got any other business?
Yeah, I think both Colin and I do. So my other business is quite boring. Just saying, I'm not going to be able to join you guys next week because I'm going to be up in the loft emptying it out, hopefully. So I ain't going to be here.
Okay.
It's going to take you all evening to empty your loft.
It's going to take me a good couple of days at least.
Oh wow! Is it a dumping ground?
Oh god, my wife seems to think that the loft, the shed, the kids' play shed, and occasionally various bedrooms are all basically the TARDIS. And we've got about 13 years worth of Oh, just put up in the loft to get rid of.
So, so you're sorting it out, not just emptying it.
I am. This is what we've been having discussions about, shall we say?
So is your wife a hoarder?
Yeah. My take of we've not needed it for 6 months. It can go in the bin, or it can go to the charity shop. And I want us to be harsh, and I want us to empty the loft out. On the other hand, my wife is a big softie, and is like, "Oh, telly I first bought when I was 17. I can't get rid of that."
Get her to watch Marie Kondo on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a fallacy, because I swear to God, everything I own sparks joy, and I need to get rid of so much.
Mrs. Shan Marie Kondoed me a year or so ago. It was
I
a
remember you
nightmare.
hiding things.
It was. It was like
when we moved, we got rid of so much stuff, and I still have so much stuff and nowhere to put it. I do need to go through everything again.
There's your secret, Ben. Move house.
Move house.
Yeah.
Move house, because at one point you will get absolutely sick of packing it and just be like, "No, we're going to skip it. It's fine."
Well, ironically enough, when when the wife and I first started going out with each other, she'd only just moved into that house, and there was already random weird stuff in the loft. Like there was a suitcase, and there was some old carpet, and the suitcase had random things from the 80s or something like that in it, like newspaper clippings and so on.
Mrs. Sharon's evil with this stuff. She goes, "If you haven't used it for 2 months, you obviously don't want it. I'm going to throw it out." What? So yeah, if you haven't used it for 2 months, it goes out. Apparently.
Colin, I believe you have some other business as well, my lovely.
Yeah, well, I've decided to change the times of my stream. I'm finding it very difficult to stream at 11 o'clock at night because I'm old and tired now. So I have moved my streams to Saturday morning and Sunday morning so if anybody wants a nice chilled out stream scanning plants, that's where I'll be.
And Colin can show you how to do it as well.
Yeah.
Yes, Colin does plants.
Colin will show you all of the
Colin's
important plant
compost corner.
mechanics. Colin's compost corner. I love
it. There's one. Shan will never know the beauty of compost corner because he didn't watch Tiswas.
Okay,
Oh,
I think that that brings us to the end, unless anyone's got anything else that they want to bring up.
Absolutely fine.
Awesome. Well, Xantha from the forums wanted us to make up something about the update for him. It's really good. It's fantastic. And I've bought lots of arcs, and I'm decorating my ship perfectly. It's all pink. Is that all right? Do you think that's right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, did you notice how one of the carrier interiors looked exactly like the cockpit of the Panther Clipper?
I did notice that, and that was such a surprise that they released the Panther Clipper at the same time.
I
can't even get out of that.
The best thing about it is I love the fact that we can actually man our turrets in the
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that is so cool.
And the fact that you can just fly out
carrier on carrier battle. That is so amazing.
I couldn't believe that they actually got all of that instancing to work first time without a problem. Now that is the biggest slide that you will hear the whole time.
Sorry for changing. Ben, you had an interesting encounter this week, didn't you, with the pirate in game?
Oh, I did actually. If we're not wanting to
No,
wrap
go
up
ahead.
already,
Go ahead. You can wrap up in a second. I'm quick.
Okay, fine. So yeah, I actually had a lot of fun with I want to remember the guy's name because it was banana something or something. I'm just going to have to look up in our history looking for photos. But so I've been doing the CG in open, and I've been flying it in my hauling in my hauling cutter with, I've got sort of like 700 tons of space. I do have shields, but not the best shields. I've got guns on it, but they're not. It's more optimized for hauling. And I got interdicted by a naked cobra who went off and abandon one ton commander and go free. And I just kind of looked at him and was like, "Oh, bless you." And then I went off and offered him 2 tons.
Oh, bless.
See, fair dues,
At
Colin,
least
for
he
playing along
tried.
with it. Fair dues for playing along with it. I mean, I think, as I mentioned in the chat at the time, when people used to try and do that for me in like an early ship, I would drop a couple of tons of Thargoid probes,
Yeah.
knowing they wouldn't have corrosive resistant cargo bays, so their ship
Sham,
would
that's
melt.
just you being
That's
a
the
dick again.
worst thing. That's you
I think that's
being so
hilarious.
mean.
Yeah.
I
Sorry,
really
Colin.
love it. I like the idea of there being like these people who are like, oh, take a Cobra Mark 3 out and get all of the goods. I'll do it constantly over and over again, and they won't know.
Oh, the worrying thing was, I gave them 2, and I think they must have only had enough room for 1 because they only picked up one of my canisters. So I went back and scooped it up, and I was like, I actually even went off and said, you know what? I know that a Cobra can quite easily take 8 canisters. Would you like 8 of them? Because I'm not going to notice 8. And he's like, no, it's okay, thanks. And he was like, thanks anyway. And the best thing about this guy was he was Kevin the Banana.
He was
So
Kevin the Banana. Okay.
I want to give a shout out to Commander Kevin Banana in his shieldless Cobra Mark III. It was amazing, and I had a lot of fun. And thank you so much. And then another commander whose name I did not get in a Viper decided he was just going to shoot me. In the same run, actually. And again, I kind of looked at him and I just like, yeah, you're not even worth my time. And I just boosted away and just frameshift drived off to the station.
I think you should have just rammed him.
Yeah,
you should have just rammed him.
It's just like, you're not even worth shooting.
Oh.
And I just went off and did a low wake to the station instead.
See, I've got a great deal of respect for people who role play the pirate bit.
Yeah.
In this game, just because with most people they'd get interdicted and they'd turn around and try and blow the other ship up. They wouldn't. Yeah, I think I like that. I do like that. So kudos to that guy.
Bless him. Brand new, having to go out piracy. Wonderful.
Oh, here we go. Happy Moon Monkey has made not an allegation, but an unverified statement.
Oh,
But it's
okay.
interesting.
Okay. It's possible, but Kevin Banana gave me a positive experience, so I will give him that. And I just thought it was cute. On the other hand, Commander Okham, I think maybe, is just wanting all about the naked cobras apparently.
What with its Cobra Mark 4? A naked Cobra Mark 4.
And on that note,
yes.
And on that note, I think we will do some shout outs. Our sister station, Heart and Orbit Radio, broadcasts on Thursdays from 8:30 p.m. And you can tune in on twitch.tv/Heart and Orbital Trackers, or for just the audio at radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander who likes a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. We're also giving shout outs to the following Elite Dangerous podcasts which have appeared over the last year or are standard regular contributors. There is Algarab AM, Black Sky Legion, who do other space sims as well as some real life science and tech bits. The Canon podcast. For Spanish speakers, there is the Elite Cast, Fatherhood podcast, Flight Assist. You're going to love these on next week. The Guard Frequency, who do other space sims, Loose Screws, Squeaking Fuel, and System Chat. For those who want a literary discussion about sci-fi and fantasy books, you can just subscribe to the Data Slate podcast created by Station Commander Alan Stroud. Following this, we have the latest Galnet News Digest as provided by Commander Wotherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. Thank you to those who have chipped in on chat, on Twitch chat, and the in-game commanders. Have you had anyone? Did you manage to get to this to Lave, Ben? And have you had anyone visit you and say hello?
Yep, I've been flying around, assassinating people with Chris Mark IV and Commander Miggles.
Excellent. Excellent. Special thanks to Commander Tokuso, Jay and Trax, and Alan Stroud, who has created the music used on the show. And that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you would like to get in touch with the show, then you can email info@laveradio.com, hit us up on facebook.com/laveradio, tweet us @laveradio. You can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. We also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders come to hang out and chat, which you can find at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Do get in touch if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. Thank you to my panelists. Those have been Ben, Colin and Shan, excellent human beings. And special thanks today to our tech specialist, Chris Mark IV. Until next time, commanders, fly safe. And just as a side note, thank you very much for listening to me go on about women. I love women. And I mean that in every sense of the word. I absolutely adore women. They're fantastic. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. And I know it was only for filler because update 11 isn't out, but I really do appreciate you embracing me in the way that you have. Also, listeners,
Thank you,
rock, and all of that stuff. Anyway, I'll be back to not being soppy and all shit and stuff next week. Until next time, commanders, fly safe. And if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this?
Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. Need a safe word. Space can be done. I'm gonna see the galaxy.
Damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Since the launch of fleet carriers in 3306 and the newfound ability for some commanders to leave their pilot seat and start walking about in 3307, the next big innovation has to be bringing those two things together. Walking around in fleet carriers premieres today, the 8th of March 3308, and Brewer Corporation is hosting a reception on this fleet carrier in the Mizar system. Let's go inside and get some first impressions.
It's a bit quieter than I'd imagined.
I'm Commander Beetlejude.
And I'm Commander Wotherspoon. This is the fleet carrier belonging to Cannon Boffin, Commander LCU No Fool Like One. We're interested to know if there'll be any golden statues of Dr. Arcanum in the plaza. But as you can see, it's pitch black in here. Perhaps Brewer is planning to surprise us all with a surprise party later.
Are you sure you got the right date?
Yes. Update 11, 8th of March. It was pushed back by a week, but no one realised it was supposed to be the 1st of March anyway. This is definitely the day.
Hundreds of fleet carriers have returned to the star system as a Brewer outfitting facility to fit all the exciting new services such as...
Vista Genomics?
Yes, Vista Genomics. And the other ones. Perhaps Apex Interstellar, the shuttle taxi people. A bartender, and the ability to trade materials directly from one commander to another, I think. Not sure about Frontline Solutions. You wouldn't want them on your fleet carrier, would you? But I'm sure you can buy a Pioneer Supplies shop and make a commission on every sale.
You'd have to find them first. Not easy in this darkness. But yes, there's likely to be a lot of congestion and a lot of frustration trying to get these new services into your fleet carrier when everyone else is trying to do the same.
How about the carriers of the Deep Space Support Network? Tens of thousands of light years away, and yet they're sure to want a Vista Genomics installed. Think of all the tritium they'll use getting back to Colonia.
And think how busy Colonia's going to get. Anyway, one of the most amazing things in the new carrier social area will be the jump room. You can sit in there with your popcorn and watch as the carrier jumps 500 light years. It's not Batman, but it's still pretty impressive, apparently.
And what about the unsocial area, the captain's ready room, where they can get away from the hustle and bustle of having to interact with people?
Not that there are many people in here right now.
And look at their star charts and have a drink in private. Might as well drink it straight from the bottle.
Remember, this is LCU's carrier. Don't drink from any bottles before you've checked if it's full of Thargoid slime samples.
Anyway, if you're a fleet carrier owner and you want to lock yourself away in your ready room, you can. You might even be able to sit down. Who knows?
Who's that? I can hear you. I have my Thargon swarm ready and I'm not afraid to use it.
It's all right. It's just us, you know, from Galnet News Digest.
What are you doing creeping around on my carrier?
We're here for the grand opening ceremony.
Well, you'd better come back on Thursday. I have to get 30,000 pieces of cheese and pineapple onto these cocktail sticks before the ceremony can happen. Or at least I think they look like cheese and pineapple. You don't want to know what they really are.
Did we get the date wrong then?
Oh no, that was all Brewer's fault. They've been so busy stashing away the goods for the Colonia Bridge that they haven't had time to finish off the fleet carrier interiors. They also want to make sure they pissed off Lave Radio by denying them the chance of doing some hot takes on the night. If it's not Thursdays, they'll almost certainly deploy fleet carrier interiors at 4:45 on Friday afternoon. Everyone knows that's the best time of week for the deployment. Anyway, would you like to come in and see my Thargon swarm? I've been training them to do the dances of Sugar Plum Fairy. They're awfully good at it, you know. They only very rarely explode against the members of the audience.